Hey, Frankie Valley, he gets the people going.
That's just too many points.
I was like, hey, Gabe, how's it going? I love your work.
Dudes on the Mall is the podcast to listen to.
Well, we are coming to you live, week 3, Dudes on the Mall. Our first virtual one of the year. Josh is still traveling for work. Some things don't change. But where are you coming to us from this week, Josh?
Coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Not a bad place to be.
I can think of worse places to be. I mean, I was in Wichita, Kansas for a little bit. I mean, Wichita's
You
not
lived
bad.
in Wichita. You might as well buy a timeshare in Wichita, Kansas.
Not my industry anymore. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, no, yeah, here in Vegas for a work trip. Been here for 2 days now. I'm actually coming home tomorrow, which today at this recording it's Tuesday. I also notice it's 6:45 my time, so you guys are probably falling asleep over there.
A little tired, but
But
we're pushing through, you know.
I'm
I
chilling.
mean, we got to do what we got to do here at Dudes on the Mall. But yeah, happy to be here and talking about what was perhaps one of the greatest performances of an offense that I've seen in a good long while on Saturday.
That's fair. Well, it is going into week 3. I'm going to say this, and this is really scary to think. After this week, we will be a quarter of the way through the season.
Damn.
Don't do that. Don't.
Isn't that crazy?
See, when you start thinking like that,
I'm already thinking like this. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, we're already coming up, to mid-September. Before you know it, it's gonna be November and the season's gonna be over. College
You
football
might
is
as well
way
just
too
say, yeah,
short.
you might as well just say the season's over at that
It's
point.
over. At
Like,
this
that's
point,
it.
it's over.
It's done.
We finished. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're undefeated. We're done.
See
I
y'all
did-
next fall.
I did think about that after the tailgate on Saturday, and I was like, dang, we only have 5 more tailgates. Like,
Well, we got Florida, so we got 6.
it's true.
Yeah,
That's
those
fair.
those road ones help
Plus
bump the
whatever
numbers
other
up a
away
little
game we
bit.
go to, so
Yeah, the road ones help bump the numbers up a little bit.
they do.
But obviously coming off a huge win, 45-14. I know I put us on upset alert. And I
I'm gonna
think
need, I'm
Wrong.
gonna need I'm gonna need a hand up on that
end up.
one.
I think we all thought that 20, 21, 22 points was a lot of points, and it
We did.
clearly was not enough points.
Yeah. I mean, I'll
Um,
put my hand up too. I said they were sneaky good. Maybe we're just sneaky better. I don't know. But
Maybe we're sneaky better. Maybe I'm just really bad at the NCAA game. Maybe Josh is way worse than I am, but
Pause.
didn't he beat you? We've talked
I-
about
yeah, I
this.
beat him and I lost to Sam
Oh,
Houston.
that's right.
Well, completely unrelated to anything at all. This just happened to me earlier today. I thought this is just a good rent-free moment. Zach, Will's friend, one of our friends, big Florida homer. Can't have a conversation with him. He texted me out of nowhere. I haven't talked to him in like a month. Texted me a screenshot. He played UCF in NCAA today. He won like 45-3 or something like that. And his caption was, "Man, you guys really weren't that good for being ranked 7th in this game." I said, "Wow, that's really respectful that they have us ranked 7th and you guys aren't even ranked." And 2, I hope you enjoyed playing on freshmen because it's not going to happen like that again in a couple weeks.
No. It was always Sanford spread.
Yeah, it was always Sanford spread.
I mean, that Florida team, they're a bunch of stinkers. I mean,
They
they are
suck.
not good.
But we'll focus on Sam Houston. We'll get back to Florida at a later date. I mean, it'll be a reoccurring thing coming up again probably later in the show, more weeks from now. But Sam Houston, we'll go over some game recap stats here real quick. Final score 45-17. KJ Jefferson with honestly one of the probably most efficient outings we have ever seen out of a UCF quarterback, at least of recent memory. 12 of 15 for 169 yards. I mean, he did everything we asked him to do. I can only think of one bad pass, and it was on that screen that was a little bit high. Other than that, the RPO was run to perfection. The deep ball to Kobe was beautiful. And I think we had maybe, we'll say like 3 or 4 passes that were called back due to penalties or other things happening that he did complete. So noteworthy there. RJ Harvey continuing to be a dog on the ground. 19 carries, 126 yards, 4 touchdowns. Penny Boone and Miles Montgomery both getting over the 50-yard mark with touchdowns. Xavier Townsend over 50 rushing yards as well. And let's just top it off. KJ Jefferson also 50 rushing yards. So One, two, three, four, five players over 50. And then our next would have been Brown at 32 on 2 carries. So I think we can run the ball. We are Navy.
We are Navy.
Receiving wise, Kobe, great performance, averaged 20 yards per catch, 5 grabs on 6 targets for 104 yards. Outside of that, Randy Pittman with 2 grabs, Xavier with 3, Trent Whittemore with 1. And we'll flip over to the defensive side of the ball. Honestly, I think turnovers were a big part of the game for us. We're getting pressure on the quarterback. Sam Houston's quarterback only threw the ball 13 times. He was 9 of 13, but it was only 82 yards and 2 picks. Their leading rusher had 25 yards on 8 carries. They had another guy at 22 yards on 7 carries and got 15 yards on 7 carries. My guy that I couldn't pronounce his name, non-factor, 21 yards and 2 grabs. Their leading receiver was was it Stephen Evans? Was that what it was?
Stephen Evans. Who?
They're remember they had it was Noah Smith was the other one. That was it. I was thinking the generic white guy name.
Where the hell did you get Stephen Evans?
I see an S.
I mean, that's
Evans,
not even on.
I see an S Evans on here on action as their leading receiver.
Leading receiver.
89 yards. That's where that came from. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the other generic white guy name.
He's their leading receiver on the season with 89 yards.
No, that was in the game.
Oh, okay.
Saturday. But just overall other game notes, noteworthy UCF 8 of 13 on 3rd down. Sam Houston 5 of 12. Both teams had 6 penalties. Outside of that, dominated in every category. 29 first downs to 12. Dominated time of possession. 74 plays to 54 is huge, tiring out the defense and averaging 7.5 yards per play. So all in all, I don't think we really have much that we can improve on from here other than maybe just throwing the ball more. But at this rate, I think we're going to be a throws the ball 15 to 20 times a game team and runs it 50 times a game. That's just our game plan this year. And until it doesn't work, keep it running.
I'm perfectly okay with that. We are Navy.
We are Navy.
Hey, we got to talk about this goddamn ref show that's been going on here.
It's a problem.
It's an absolute problem to not only college football, not only UCF football, but to frickin' society. Okay. How many calls did we have on Saturday when it was like, what are we doing? The one call where, what was it? It was a face mask. It was a face mask on, was it Kobe? I don't remember. But it should have been pass interference. 100% should have been defensive pass interference.
Yep.
But that we ended up getting the flag on a face mask call, even though he was being dragged and, sent in the trenches. Ridiculous. There are a couple of other things that if he calls, but no, 100% had to call it because
the strip sack.
It's the strip sack. Yes, thank you.
Big one.
Thank you. It's just a bunch of ridiculousness. I think I'm just trying to find something to rant about, and I think this is just low-hanging fruit that anybody could rant about. But let's go. Let's figure it out.
They're just being silly.
Silly.
I'll complain a little more when we're like closer games, I guess. But
that strip sack and that face mask could be the
didn't
difference.
Didn't we get a pick like right after the strip sack though?
We did.
It was
we did.
Ball
did.
Don't lie. Yeah, it's fine.
Strip sack would have been cooler though.
It would have. Yeah, you're right.
Ball don't lie, but let's set the standard now that we're going to have properly officiated games. Because down the line, like Brandon said, face mask, there'll be a problem. It's going to be a problem. So, I don't know. There's just not a lot of negativity around this game because we actually look pretty damn good.
No, we look great.
we gotta
find something to find some stuff.
You really do. I mean, even the Caesar wrap I had was banging. It was fire.
My nachos were good.
So good.
Even the game day communication of when kickoff would be from a weather day.
Yeah, they were
great. Was actually good too.
And they let everybody in the gate. They didn't close it.
Yeah,
that's great.
But we'll hit up Justin for some game notes here.
Yeah, I mean we've kind of touched on most of the topics already, but I'll just kick off the conversation down the line, starting with KJ. Obviously, after week 1, we had our issues, if you will. Didn't look comfortable in the pocket, wasn't moving his feet. Pretty bad passes, if you ask me. So, but but he did everything that we asked him to and more, like Brandon said on Saturday. I mean, he looked composed, his throws looked phenomenal. I don't know. We were running a lot of option plays, whether it was RPOs or just read options, and he was making the right decision every single time. He hit Kobe probably twice on a couple of RPO slants. That it was the perfect pull and throw. He kept the ball a couple of times when he needed to. Obviously, we're still handing it off because get RJ Harvey the ball, but we learned he can run this week, which was very nice. So yeah, I mean, he turned it around real quickly for me being confident in him, and I think that's fair to say. I think a lot of people would agree that they're not worried after seeing that performance. Now, come Saturday, bigger test, harder opponent, we'll see. But
Fatter people.
What's that again?
Fatter
people.
We're talking obesity.
Yeah. Maybe he's faster than them.
I mean, KJ's big guy.
KJ
is he's what?
He's
6'4".
huge guy, but he can move, dude. He can move. And he's a
very
bowling
mobile.
ball. It was like every time he ran the ball, it was just like, okay, here is a bowling ball coming at you at 100 miles an hour, and try to stop it.
Hey, it's gonna be.
I was like, just keep the ball.
It's gonna be very easy to outrun a forklift because that's what we need at TCU to move people around.
That's funny.
Of course, referencing the Twitter beef that happened today.
Of course. We'll get into that in a little bit when we get to the TCU preview. But yeah, anyways. So moving down, yeah, keeping it with the offense, RJ. I'm gonna say something crazy. Maybe it's not crazy to us, but it'll be crazy to anybody that's not a UCF fan. RJ Harvey should legitimately be in the Heisman conversation, and he should be higher in the Heisman conversation than Ollie Gordon and what's his name at Kansas. Blanking on his name, whatever. But RJ Harvey's a dog. He is the best running back in the nation, and I will fight anybody on that. I'm sorry. Like, watching this guy run every single Saturday is so fun, and he's so good. He's shifty. He's fast. He's impossible to bring down. I mean, he's got, how many touchdowns does he have now in the year? 7, 8, 6? No, he only had 2 in the first game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. Regardless, he had 4 on Saturday, and that was only through what, 2.5 quarters, maybe. He was probably benched by early third quarter. So, yeah, he's a dog. And the fact that he's doing all of that with as stacked of a running back room as we have says a lot about how good of a football player he is.
I've learned that you truly cannot appreciate how good RJ Harvey is until you watch the TV broadcast after the game. The guy can move, and the guy he's making people look absolutely ridiculous out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, people are going to come after you and they're going to want your head on a stake for saying that he should be in the Heisman conversation. But I agree.
I'll fight it tooth and nail.
He passes the eye test with flying colors, and he is just outperforming anyone and everyone. You look at our rushing yards per game, we're leading the nation. And a lot of that is due to RJ Harvey. I think that, a couple more games of this, especially in the conference play, you got to start having conversations, even putting him in the betting markets, and moving him up the chain. I mean, at least give him some respect, because we all know it's one big popularity contest. But anyway, I digress.
No, I'm with you, and he's pure talent. Like, it's just something you can't teach. He's got a hell of a demeanor. He's got vision. He's slippery. He's just everything you want in a running back and more. So, and he's only going to get better as the season goes on. So, yeah, wide receivers looked great. Trent finally got a catch, which wasn't anything to write home about, but just something to note, because we were like, oh, okay, he's starting. So yeah, welcome to the program. But yeah, on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, same as week 1. This defense is legit. We learned how to stop the run. They had a very mobile quarterback, and we were keeping them pretty well contained. So yeah, I mean, nothing to complain about there. And then special teams, I'm not really remembering too much about X having any like crazy returns, not as much as week 1, but I'm sure he'll keep it up as the season goes. And then kicking, Boomer is back. I'm officially ready to say that he made a 50-yarder that was good from 60. So yeah, as long as he can keep his composure, we're going to be looking good on the kicking front this year. So
Well, anything else that stuck out from the game Saturday? Justin got to do lights up, lights down, first time
I
this
did.
year.
I did. I didn't have to go to the bathroom this time. That was great. They killed the video.
They killed the video. They killed it.
Well, they kind of started to play
No.
a video,
No.
and then they stopped it.
No. They killed the video.
I still think we'll get one for the Colorado game. I think it'll
don't.
return. I just don't think they're doing it because it's
No, because you keep
blowout.
saying that. No, we do it every game, dude. What are you talking about?
Pour one out for the video.
When have you, before this season, when have you been at a game since, we were starting at school there and they didn't play that video? We were guessing who it was. Didn't matter how many points we were winning by.
0-12. They had the video.
I'm gonna send a message to Eric DeSalvo and ask what's going on. Or let's message UCF Fan Experience on Twitter. We'll message them from our account. Hey, I've noticed they haven't been playing the fourth quarter hype video with a player at the end. What's going on here? What's up with this?
I'm over here guessing players and they're not even playing a video.
Yeah, they're just making us look silly, just like the refs. But anything else from the game this weekend?
Is one of our tight ends our new backup kicker?
That was crazy.
You remember that,
Dog.
dude? Like we were
That guy was awesome.
Morris? Is that his name?
Morris.
He
Stepped
stepped up to
take
kick
that
wearing
kickoff.
2 gloves.
Dude, and he sent it through the back of the end zone. Absolutely boomed it.
I mean, if just doing that keeps some wear and tear off of Boomer and it helps him kick field goals better, I'm all for it.
I'm fine with that. And it's funny. That also proves the point of when there's bad kicking going on, like what are we doing? Like there's got to be somebody that knows how to kick a football. You know what I mean? Like if your tight end can step in there and do that, like you got however many players you got on the team plus 70,000 kids at UCF, like there's got to be somebody that can kick a football.
Somebody's got to be able to kick a ball at a school, and somehow Pat McAfee picks the wrong person every time.
Every time.
So final UCF 45, Sam Houston 14. We're on to TCU. Anything from around the league of college football this week other than Notre Dame paying Northern Illinois over $1 million to come beat them at home?
That was awesome.
Talk about a payday.
It's just a win-win all around.
Yeah.
Northern Illinois, not for Notre Dame.
Can we talk about our sweet friends over in the Mountain Time Zone that live in Idaho and how legit they looked?
They should have won.
And how robbed they got.
They got robbed. They should have won.
I can't tell if Boise looks really good or if Oregon is a bunch of frauds. And I'm leaning more towards the latter of that situation.
Both. It's both.
Boise's really good and Oregon State are a bunch of frauds.
Yeah. Like the fact that Oregon is still a top 10 team is crazy. What are they, 9 right now?
I think they're 10.
10, whatever. They beat Idaho by 3 and Boise by 3. Now Boise's a way better team than Idaho, but still.
Boise might be 12th seed.
Oh, they got a good shot at making the playoff. A very good shot.
Well, looking ahead this week, Texas State's got a big game Thursday night against Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
Huge game.
Huge game.
Texas State wins on Thursday against Arizona State. It'll be either Texas State or Boise representing, I think, the group of 5.
Yeah.
Barring some crazy loss at some point during the year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anything can happen.
We've seen it, so it'll be interesting. We'll move to game preview for this week. TCU.
Let's do it.
Cool. Well, I've been doing some research. This is me an in-depth game preview this week. We've been lacking a little bit, so I'm prepared. TCU starting quarterback Josh Hoover has only 29 Instagram posts on the year. Of those 29, all of them involve him either playing football or baseball. We got JRP in our hands, boys, right here.
Ooh. I'm sorry, did you say he only has 29 Instagram posts on the year? I feel like that's a lot.
Well, I mean, 29 in his account. Sorry, 29 in his account.
Okay.
But doing some in-depth digging, there appears to be a division within that household. His
Okay.
sister is a sports anchor for what I think appears to be Oklahoma State, the local news in Stillwater.
What are we doing?
What kind
So-
of
Hello.
analysis is this?
I love this.
So hear me out. Oklahoma State, TCU. They don't match. Nothing there. What is there? Is there not? I don't know. Brian Windhorst, Brandon.
Where are you going with this?
You know the Brian
you
Windhorst
okay?
meme? You know the Brian Windhorst meme where he was like doing the LeBron thing and talking about something else, and they had nothing to do with each other, but it kind of made sense after certain things happened, and then it was like, oh, did he actually know what he's talking about, or was he just, making it up? You know what I'm talking
I've
about?
never seen that.
You've never seen that before?
No.
Okay, I will find the picture and text it to you guys when I'm done monologuing here.
Okay.
I'm glad. I thought you were having a stroke or something. Like this
I'm
was.
like, what's
no.
going
I was very
on?
concerned.
Anyway, Josh Hoover, sophomore quarterback, also number 10, Josh Hoover, baseball, football, posts, JRP. I'm telling you, there's a connection here. Last year for TCU, 62% completion percentage, 2,200 yards passing, 15 tutties, 9 picks. This year, stats have been boosted. However, they have played Stanford and who they play this past week? It was a D2 school. Sorry boys, I had this up and it disappeared.
You're good.
You're telling me that this
You
guy's
were
got
too worried
29
about his
posts on his Instagram.
Instagram.
He's got 29 posts on his Instagram and can't find who the hell they played last week.
Sorry, they played against Long Island University last
Okay.
week. He didn't have
I
any
wouldn't have
posts
guessed
from
that.
that one yet. They won 45-0. But this season so far, 48 of 67, 71% completion, 620 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. But let's dive into the numbers a little bit. Of that 460, 425 of them came against Long Island this past week. So beating up on the inferior opponent, doing what he should do in a game that they should win easily.
You said 425 of his 460 on the year.
I'm sorry, 267 of his 460.
Okay. I was like,
Wrong number.
dang.
Yeah, 267. He was 20 of 25, 2 touchdowns. They do not run the ball very effectively. Their leading rusher had 13 carries for 58 yards, but he did have 3 touchdowns. That's Cam Cook. That was against Long Island. But I think the game that we really need to be looking at is the game against Stanford. I know I watched kind of the second half of that game. I don't know if either of you watched the second half. Josh, you were kind of getting off the plane. I don't know if you caught the tail end of it, but one, ref show that game, Stanford TCU. 2, if I remember correctly, TCU could not stop Stanford when they needed to, and Stanford's quarterback was garbage, like really bad. So Stanford was winning at halftime, but TCU kind of came back and scored 24 in the second half to end up winning. But box score from that game, important things to look at. Hoover threw for 353 yards on 28 completions, 2 touchdowns again. And again, they don't run the ball. Cam Cook, 20 carries for 81 yards and 1 touchdown, so 4 yards a carry. I'm just saying, offensively, key's gonna be stopping the pass. Key of the game, stop the pass. Not even worried about the run. Not even a thought.
Are we in the upside down?
Game. What?
Are we in the upside down right now? Keys to the game, stop the pass?
Yeah. But that was a 34-27 win over Stanford. So keys of the game, stop the pass. But let's dive a little bit further. Do you guys know anything about Stanford?
I know Christian McCaffrey went there.
So did Tiger Woods.
Nice.
That's fair. Anything about their football team?
Christian
I know
McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey.
It's hot garbage is what it is.
We played them a couple years
Their
ago.
mascot's a tree.
Their mascot is a tree. Stanford, we're going to take this with like a grain of salt. They lost by a touchdown, right? They lost by a touchdown with a quarterback who had a 50% completion percentage and only threw for $163.
That stat line sounds very familiar to me.
Their leading rusher,
It's almost
87
identical
yards.
to KJ's stat line in week 1.
Sound pretty familiar? Team stats. Total yards for the game. TCU 457, Stanford 286. Lost by a touchdown. Why? Because TCU is only 8 of 15 on third down, 7 penalties for 100 yards. They are not a disciplined team.
Ref show.
Ref show. Not a disciplined team.
Okay, so
what do we
don't get
what are we looking for?
penalized and stop the pass.
Yeah, don't get penalized and stop the pass. Also, against Long Island this past week, 6 penalties for 65 yards. TCU, not a disciplined team. Keys to the game, let TCU make mental mistakes, get those penalties. We cannot stoop to their level. Don't commit the dumb penalties. Play clean, which we've done a decent job of so far, and stop the pass. Other than that, everything takes care of itself.
And stop the run, too.
Always
nope,
stop.
not even worry about the run.
No, we just need to play our game, dude. Like, seriously. If we run the ball exactly like, I mean, it won't look as good, but if we run the ball with as much discipline as we did against Sam Houston and New Hampshire, I mean, that's our bread and butter this year. So stick to it. Don't do anything crazy. Play our game. We should come out of there with a win.
I know you guys haven't been online much today, but did you see at TCU for like their pregame experiences? It's a donation to the school, like you pay to do like you pay to go on the field or whatever. They have pregame experiences that you can pay for, and UCF Probs is the high bid currently to ring the horn when I think it's when they run out of the field for warm-ups or something.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
They have some sort of like air siren that you ring. So
yeah.
I wonder if he just shows up in UCF stuff and you're like, oh, here you
just
go.
Like doesn't ring it. I would just stand there. You know what I mean?
Just look like you're absolutely just bothered to be there.
Yeah.
Like you just have
like
to just
knock it over and walk away.
Checking your watch, just like what's going on here.
Working in sports, I can see where there's probably a rule that if you're wearing opposing team gear, you're not allowed on the field. But I've never dealt with it where you pay for it before because it's always been like a volunteered thing. So if you're financially committing to it, I don't really know how that works. Unless they have like fine print somewhere.
Yeah, that's weird. I can't imagine they would actually let him do that. They'd probably find a way around it, but that's hilarious if they can.
It'd be electric. So we've got 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, 5:30 Mountain for our Boise friends. On Fox. Big time. Big time. On Fox. Nationally televised 7:30 primetime game. First ever time we've been on Fox primetime, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
That won't be Gus Johnson, will it?
No, Gus Johnson does big noon.
Yeah. Well, you can call 2 games maybe. I don't know.
This is interesting. I'm seeing conflicting numbers here on the spread. Let me confirm real fast.
The last I checked, we opened at +1.5 and we were at -2 the last time I checked.
Yeah, we opened at. I saw us at +2. I've got 2 books that both have us at -2 currently.
Yeah, I saw -2 earlier today.
There's been about a 3.5 to 4 point swing, which is absolutely massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
So what are your guys' plans for the game Saturday?
I will be in Port Orange watching with my family.
Nice.
Haven't seen them in a minute.
I will also be with my family. I'm going over to my dad's. We're gonna watch some football, grill, you know.
I will be at work.
I know. That's why we're all doing our own thing.
At least one of us. Whenever we got something going on UCF football related, one of us has got something going on.
I don't know how to stream Fox, so I'm gonna have to figure it out. So I can put
YouTube TV.
Phone. YouTube TV, dude.
I don't have YouTube TV.
You need to get YouTube TV.
Well, yours has been signed in at my house for over a year, so I just use it whenever you're using it.
There you go. Figure it out. Put it on your phone.
Bring the whole TV with you.
Dude, YouTube TV plus Sunday Ticket. I couldn't live without it.
I'll figure something out. I'm sure there's like a Fox stream that's like
beautiful. You don't even have to look for the channel. You just turn on YouTube TV. It automatically knows what I'm looking for. Whatever sporting event I'm trying to turn on YouTube TV, it's automatically on when I open the app.
So we will the dudes will be separate on Thursday, but we will all be watching. I'll be watching to the best of my ability that I can. I'm hoping by the time that our game ends, it'll probably be like midway through the third quarter, so I'll at least get to kind of catch the fourth quarter. Hopefully we're blowing them out by then. I don't even need to worry about it. But I prefer not to be at work when I'm trying to keep up with UCF football because it kind of tends to get the better of me on my my emotions occasionally.
Dude's out here just straight up like,
This guy,
yeah, how
don't
you
talk
doing?
to me.
How you doing? Don't ask me to do dishes.
Nothing.
You're gonna find me in the bathroom.
Oh God. So I'll tweet that video if worst case scenario.
Don't
I'll
ask
tweet
me
it.
to do nothing.
Nothing. Dishes, nothing.
Shout out Jason Terry.
So that is our game preview for this week. It was actually a little bit in depth for our standards, I would say. I hope everyone enjoyed. we will move on to Dude of the Week.
Dude of the week? Yeah, let's do it.
Do we have a winner from last week?
I can
think we were
check
pretty neck and
who
neck.
won. You guys were neck and neck. Let me here recap
Instagram.
everybody on your last week's while I check.
So Instagram, I think, really loved the Ghostbusters lift, but Twitter really loved Billy
The
Napier's
water bottle. Yeah. Okay, so I can't see how many votes there were, but Ghostbusters had 44% of the votes on Instagram, and the water bottle had 33% on
you can
Instagram.
See if you click on it, who voted for what?
No,
Yeah,
because
maybe it's
it's
accountable.
it's already gone.
Ah,
You know what I mean? Like it's already expired, so it's just showing me like the numbers. So 44% and 33%. And then on Twitter, let's pull that up real quick. I know Billy Napier's water bottle won on Twitter,
I think it was 50%.
50%. Let's see. We got Dude of the Week right here. 60%. So we're gonna go ahead and say that Napier's water bottle won. Congrats, Brandon.
Wow.
Stop the count.
Stop the count. It was close though.
Thank you.
It was close.
It was close.
Wasn't close for
Well, for this
we
week,
definitely know who lost.
me.
should have gone with the DJ.
I should have, yeah. Although, yeah. Can't say what I was gonna say. It's okay.
I'll go last this week. We'll let Justin go first this week since I won. I'll go with the order.
Oh, fine. Okay, I'll go first because I'm gonna lose again this week. So first off, you're not taking what we saw in the Union, right, Josh?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'm gonna give an honorable mention then. This is my Dude of the Week, but I'm just gonna shout them out. Story time. Josh and I during the tailgate after it rained got super tired and we wanted to go sit down somewhere, so we walked into the Union to get some AC because we were hot as hell. we're sitting there watching the end of the Arkansas OK State game, and all of a sudden you just hear the trumpets, right, of the band, and they're just circled around the seal. The band is just wearing their like hoodie things, hoods up and everything, just playing trumpets, and then they start chanting like the Halo theme, and Josh and I were just dying because the trumpets was cool. The chanting was a little much for me. It was a little weird.
It was like,
oh, seemed a little culty, so I almost picked them as my Dude of the Week, but it was just funny because I didn't know they did that. Never once seen that in a million years. So, yeah. Anyways, honorable mention to the trumpet players in the band. But yeah, my Dude of the Week is gonna go with another inanimate object. It's more of a funny Dude of the Week than an actual one. But we're gonna go with the Carl Black. What do you call it? Football launch machine. Is that what we call it?
The jugs machine.
Jugs machine. Thank you. For anyone that wasn't at the game, or doesn't know what that is, they do the punt catching for $500 after the first quarter ? At every home game to win some money, and the jugs machine was just not having it in the rain. I don't know if the ball was just like slipping through the wheels or what, but it was flying maybe 5 feet through the air, and this guy was lined up 30 yards away, and the person running it kept waving him in, finally he caught like 2 of them that were just like fell out of the machine, and they just gave him $500. So honestly, dude of the week should be that guy for a free $500. But we're gonna go with the jugs machine on this one. Just a terrible performance from them, and all my homies hate Carl Black.
All the homies hate Carl Black. That jugs machine has not worked at all for the past like 6 home games. It's
just
over a
constantly
year.
rigging it, but they couldn't rig it this week.
They could not. All right, Brandon, do you want it or do you want me to go?
You can go.
All right. Uh-oh. I'm doing a little swerve on the boys here. So we talk, as we mentioned before previously on Dudes in the Mall, that sometimes we have conversations about who we're going to pick as Dude of the Week is to ensure there are no duplicates. I told them I was going to go one way, and I'm about to swerve everyone. So my Dude of the Week.
Change mine then?
You can absolutely change yours.
Okay, we'll come back to it.
Absolutely. You can have 2 if you want. I don't care if this one wins. This is just a story I got to share to the people.
Okay.
So I'm here in Las Vegas. Beautiful, wonderful Las Vegas, Nevada. Fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Last night I spent a few hours over at Caesar's Palace and the Bellagio doing a little bit of gambling, as we say, responsibly, of course. But this one guy was not doing it responsibly. So I was sitting at a Huff and More Puff machine, one of the greatest slots ever created, if you know the Three Little Pigs. And there's another, I think it was a Dragon Link machine right across the way. Literally, I had this guy in my eyesight the entire time. So what happened after, I did not fear for my safety as I would have seen any attacking threats coming this way. So this is what happened. I'm sitting there enjoying life in Las Vegas, just hitting that slot machine button, just watching that credit value go down and down and down. And all of a sudden, I hear the bell ring and the ring. And someone just got like free games, or not a jackpot. They got bonus games, free games. There's one, if you've seen slots on TikTok or if you're familiar with slot machines, they have something called the hold and spin feature where you get 3 free spins. You have to fill up the entire slot machine with different like bonus values. And every time you fill one up, it resets your spins to like 3 spins, and then you keep going until you run out of spins, essentially. So if it doesn't keep filling up. So this guy's sitting right over here. I can see his slot machine screen. He's facing the opposite direction. And we'll start with the ending. He only got one little dot, and that's what, like, because you have to get like 6 to start, and then you get one more. He got one more, and then he didn't get anything else. But the process of getting to that one more was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. This guy, obviously, English is not his first language. This guy doesn't know how to speak English. Therefore, the profanities that he was letting out made absolutely no sense whatsoever. So, for example, it starts spinning. He says, come on, you dumb crap. Come on, ass, you ass, come on, ass. He kept saying ass over and over and over and over again. I had to stop spinning because I had to see what was going on over there. This is mind-boggling. He's like, come on, you damn shit. Come on. And then he ended up getting one spin, and he was like satisfied at the end too. So like this was the most bipolar moment I've ever seen in my life. Like this was just from one end to the other, just one extreme to every. He is yelling, standing, screaming at this machine. And as soon as it says, oh, your bonus is complete, he's just like, goes back, sits back down, and just starts spinning again like a normal human being. Dude of the week, Dragon Link guy who just has absolutely no regard for any emotion in his body and having the reaction of a lifetime at a slot machine. And I'm pretty sure he was betting like 50 to 75 cents per spin. So dude of the week, that guy.
He's
Should have
committed.
known you were going to pivot to something in Vegas.
I got you. Justin, you can have the other one though if you want.
Oh my God, yeah, I absolutely will.
You want to switch real quick?
Okay, yeah, I'll switch real quick. Okay, so this is who I wanted to take, but Josh called dibs on it the second I pointed it out at the game, which mad props to him. Like I was like, yeah, it's yours, take it. But anyway, so switching my dude of the week, it is now going to be from the game. It's halftime. Okay, we're all sitting there, just kind of yapping it up, whatever. Band was done doing their thing, and the kickers came out. kicking some field goals. I was watching some punts, okay, because I was like, I'm keeping a close eye on Mitch McCarthy, trying to see what's going on over there. But out of the corner of my eye, I see this equipment manager. He's wearing all Canaveral blue. I'm like, okay, that guy's looking pretty swaggy. And then I see him sling a ball back to Mitch McCarthy that traveled like 55 yards in the air. And I'm like, oh my God, like this guy's got a cannon. And so I keep watching him, and he's just catching punts and slinging them just from the goal line all the way to the past the logo, just absolutely ripping these balls. And so finally I look at the boys and I'm like, guys, are you seeing this? Like, this equipment manager is just absolutely slinging it. And so he just keeps going, I'm screaming at him. I'm like, dude, you got to try out. Like this guy could play quarterback hands down. He had great hands. He almost caught one behind his back, punt nonetheless, not just a pass from anybody. So this guy was being swaggy as hell on the field. So Josh caught a picture of him like while he was slinging that I'm going to use in the
I'm gonna
graphic.
send that to you before I forget.
So if anybody knows this equipment manager, get us in touch with him, because I would love to talk to this guy, because he was absolutely slinging the ball. So so my do of the week now is going to be that equipment manager for the team that was just having a day on the field.
I feel like we need to emphasize the absolute accuracy and perfection.
Oh, they were
these
dogs.
throws.
They were
incredible. Absolutely incredible. There's some quarterbacks in FBS right now who cannot make these throws.
Dude, he could be a D1 starting quarterback after seeing that. He passed the eye test.
Absolutely.
All right. I have an honorable mention before I go to mine. Honorable mention comes from Halloween Horror Nights on Friday night. No context, just walking through a line. Guy's t-shirt. I'm just going to leave you with this. Guy's t-shirt, quote on the shirt. You call it autism. I call it having that dog in me. Hot dogs all over his shirt. Great t-shirt.
Awesome.
I tried to get a picture of it. We wrapped around the line, and he didn't match back up when we were walking around. But I did look it up online. I found t-shirts that have that saying on it, but it doesn't have hot dogs on it. So for that reason, I didn't want to make it my do of the week, because I couldn't find the exact shirt
That's fine.
that he was wearing.
That's hilarious.
It was really funny.
Another honorable mention to the mohawk, the guy with the mohawk that was like a foot tall that bought a universal umbrella because it was pissing rain.
Guy with the mohawk bought an umbrella just to protect his hair. So yeah, honorable mention, dog and me. My dude of the week is going to be Matt Rule, Nebraska head coach. He was asked in his post-game interview, or one of his pressers this weekend, what he thinks about night games. And he made it very clear he's not a fan of them. I know a lot of us despise the noon kickoff or the 11 a.m. kickoff. Well, Matt Rule, he doesn't even like those. Matt Rule said 9 a.m., kegs and eggs. I want kickoff at 9 every morning. I don't want to play in the afternoon. Give him kegs and eggs, 9 a.m. kickoffs, and he's happy man. So my dude of the week is Matt Rule for his take on kickoff times.
Big breakfast tailgate guy.
I don't know if he's a breakfast tailgate guy or if he just hates the heat.
Probably both.
I mean, respect. I mean,
Matt Rule could go to TCU, so he might prefer it to be a little bit cooler outside.
A little bit cooler, yeah.
Hey, it's humid in Dallas.
It's humid.
That's all I'm saying.
You got those extra
humid in
LBs, you
Nebraska.
might sweat them out.
A lot of grease being leaked.
Unhealthy diets.
So due to the week recap, Matt Rule, kegs and eggs.
I got the UCF equipment manager slinging the ball. I don't know. I'll come up with a catcher name.
And I've got insane dragon leg guy.
So on to picks for the week.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Do we have to?
I would love to. I'll run us off real quick with a quick recap for my week last week. Last week, some people online were trolling my plays. I had a friend text me that they were awful. Multiple people questioned what I was doing. Well, I went 5-2 last week. I had a great week. Season total up to 9-6-1. We're gonna get the really bad beat out of the way. The bad beat of Texas, Michigan over 43.5. That one just hurt. The game finished at 43, and then the other loss was Iowa -2.5 against Iowa State. Iowa State winning outright. The 5 winners: Arkansas +7.5 against Oklahoma State. Easy. Texas State -1.5 over
That didn't
UTSA.
hit.
What?
Arkansas 7.5. They lost by 8.
No, they went to overtime.
Yeah, and they lost by 8. Trust me,
Are you
I know.
serious?
Yeah, because when I took them for the podcast, I got them at +7.5. I'm gonna get into it in my picks, but I didn't win my podcast pick, but I won my actual bet on Arkansas.
I could have sworn they lost
No,
by 7.
They
Oh,
lost
wow.
by 8
Okay.
because in double overtime you have to go for 2,
Hand up.
and yeah.
Let me adjust here real quick. Wow, that's
I wish they covered.
okay. Still winning week though. 4-3. Still a good week. Wow,
A lot.
that just
It sounds a lot worse than 5-2 though.
that just threw me. Okay. All right. We're gonna
Sorry, I
regroup
hate
here.
to be that guy, but yeah, the final score was 39-31.
Okay.
You just
We're
ruined
gonna-
his night, Justin.
They ruined my night too. Okay.
I wish I would have known sooner. I could have been ruined on Saturday instead of today. Okay. 4-3, 8-7-1 on the year. Now to the winners. Texas State -1.5 over UTSA, Nebraska -7.5 over Colorado, Tennessee and NC State over 60.5. Tennessee almost hit that by themselves. And then Boise +19.5 against Oregon.
Too many points.
That's a close one there. That Tennessee one, because you said it was what, 60.5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they
like
won
63
50.
finished at.
They won 51-10.
Yeah.
Love that half a point win.
I needed a break somewhere since I got a bad beat in the Texas one, and apparently Arkansas too.
So did I. Yeah. Great segue into my picks. So I went 3-6 for my podcast picks, but
That's
fun fact,
brutal.
if I had 2 half-point losses, so it would have gone 5-4, and both those half-point losses with line adjustments, I won my actual bets when I took them on Saturday. So, but didn't count, which actually matters on the podcast, so that's okay. So yeah, we'll run over the losers real quick. We touched on it already. Arkansas +7.5. They lost by 8 in double OT. Texas, Michigan over 43.5. That missed by half a point. Maryland -8.5. They lost outright. That's a tough one. Yeah, just nothing to say there. Kansas -5.5 against Illinois. Didn't get to watch that game, obviously, but I don't know what happened there. Is Illinois good? Is Kansas bad? I don't know. App State +18 against Clemson. Woof. Dude, what a bad pick that was.
That was really bad.
Clemson put up what, like 47 in the first quarter? So the entire time I was just saying, dang, Georgia must be really, really good. Yeah, and then last loser, Mississippi State and Arizona State over 59.5. I think they got like 53 or 54. So my 3 winners on the week: Syracuse +3 outright. Love that. We got Tennessee -7.5 against NC State. That was easy. And then the too many points of the week: Boise +19.5 against Oregon. They lost by 3. Honestly, should have won that game. So brings my season total up to 10-13. So not too bad. We can crawl back.
That's not terrible. Not terrible at all, actually. I had a very midweek. We'll start with my record. So I was 4-5 last week. I went 4-5, or I was 4-5 season total. I went 4-5 this past week. Brings my season total to 8-10. So again, this is probably the year of the mid for all of us. We're going to start with the biggest loser of them all, though. The perfect parlay died on the first leg, like always. So it actually, the perfect parlay went 2-2. So we'll start with the 2 losers. The under in the Iowa game, 35.5. They scored 39. Can Iowa score points? Who knows? But that lost. And then I had over 59 in the Colorado-Nebraska game. They only scored 38. And that stinker, we'll call it, only because they didn't score points. But I did have Tennessee -7.5 in the parlay, and I did have Wazoo -1.5. Both hit very easily. So at least there's some life to the perfect parlay. Hopefully we have some better luck coming this week, coming this Saturday. But we'll start with some losers here on my straight plays. First off, it was never Northwestern. Their stadium sucks. It's terrible. It's got a beautiful view, but it's horrible. I had Northwestern minus 2.5 against Duke. Duke beat them outright, and I'm sick to my stomach. And what's perhaps the stupidest play of the week was Michigan plus 7.5. That was garbage. Texas is legit.
That was pretty bad.
I'm
I
here
would
to say
argue
it.
that App State plus 18 was worse, though.
That is pretty bad.
I'll
But
go with on that one.
but Michigan plus 7.5 was not
Yeah.
a smart play, Lieutenant Knight. I had Buffalo plus 34.5. Just an absolute loser. They lost 38-0 to Missouri, so that was fun. I had Nevada plus 1.5 against Georgia Southern. They lost by 3. That sucks. Finally, and I've decided that I will not be taking any more games this year that involve the South Florida Bulls. Over 63.5 in the Bama USF game. Bama and USF were very close until the very end when Bama was like, maybe we should start actually playing football.
Lean forward a little bit.
Yeah, lean forward a little bit and try and figure it out. But that final was 42-16, not getting to that 63.5 point. But we did have some winners. Let's start with BYU plus 10.5 over SMU, winning outright. SMU is trash.
Bad team.
Did you hear they're benching Preston Stone?
They should bench everybody because they're garbage. Boise plus 19. Our boys in Boise.
Cooking.
They are cooking against Oregon. They only lost by 3, which is very impressive against a team that's supposedly top 10 in the country, but have failed to really prove that. I had over 54 in Western Michigan versus Ohio State. Ohio State won 56-0. So that the skin of my teeth. And then finally, the last winner that I have on here, the spread wasn't decided until Saturday morning, but Samford plus 38.5 against those Florida Gators. Let's talk about the cover of the century here. Way too many points, even though it was very close.
Half a point.
Half a point. Yes, that's very true. It was by the skin of my teeth. But 38.5 was the closing line, so that's what we decided to go upon because we didn't have a spread at the time of recording last week, which we didn't have a spread until I think Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It took a while to get one. So anyway, those were my plays.
Well, this
week's a new week.
It was certainly the week of the half point this past week.
It was.
Well, I'll lead us off. I had a hard time making a card this week. There wasn't too
I
much
did too.
that jumped out at me.
Struggled hard.
No, not a lot of good games this week.
I've got 6 plays. This one I think this hits easily because I don't think either team will play defense. First time I've probably ever taken one of these teams too. I've got UNLV and Kansas over 57. UNLV apparently can play offense kind of, and Kansas, I don't know what's going on, but they can score sometimes. So we'll go with the over there. This one, I had the over, and then I switched it to the spread. I think it's a bounce back game, a get right game. I've got Bama minus 15.5 over Wisconsin. I also liked the over, but I'm gonna go with the spread. This one, I'm riding it till it doesn't hit. I'm taking Memphis plus 6.5 against FSU.
Good pick.
Good pick.
If we did money lines on here, I would take Memphis outright.
They're taking some bad blood to Tallahassee, okay? Mike Norvell's going to learn.
Mike Norvell's familiar with Memphis. Next, this seemed really low to me. I didn't understand why. It is 2 bad teams, but I think no defense will be played. Battle for South Florida. I've got the over in FIU and FAU, 43 points.
This is very low.
That game's gonna suck.
It's gonna be a bad game. That will be a game that I look at the score at the end of it to see how it went. That is not I'm gonna watch any of this game. 2 more plays for me. I think Houston figures it out this week. I've got them minus 4.5 over Rice. Rice is a bad team who lost to Sam Houston. Houston played Oklahoma tough. I think they can win by a touchdown. That shouldn't be a problem. And then last one. I'm gonna preface this. The first thing I did when I went to look for plays this week to see who Northern Illinois played, because I was gonna take whoever they were playing spread because it'd be a hangover game. They have a bye week, so they have been graced. This was planned perfectly. So instead, I think Notre Dame's gonna have another hangover week here because they play Purdue. and Purdue is just naturally a ranked team killer. So I'm taking Purdue plus 10.5 against Notre Dame.
I like that.
Notre Dame, who has not thrown for a touchdown pass this year.
Wait, really?
Nope.
That's
0.
crazy. Oof,
There's only 5 teams who have done it.
It's
or
always
have not
Notre Dame.
done it.
Anytime they're in the top 10, always take them to go unranked.
So those are my 6 picks. Noteworthy here also UCF and TCU. Not related to picks at all, but I was talking about ranked picks with Notre Dame. I think the winner of our game on Saturday will sneak into the top 25, and I think FIU, Northern Illinois, NIU, who is on bye this week, will lose to bye and be unranked next week.
I agree with that. Been there, done that, right?
Yeah. Okay. Those are my picks for the week.
All right. So I've actually got 8 picks this week. Had a hard time getting them, but the more I look at it, the more I like it. But that's what I said last week, so we'll see. We'll start with the only duplicate on my card is Memphis plus 6.5. Just a revenge game, I guess, for Memphis, and we're gonna fade FSU until it doesn't hit. So I wish that was 7. Actually, I'm gonna check right now to see if it went up. It didn't. Cool. But yeah, so Memphis plus 6.5. Next, I'm going to take Arizona is going to Kansas State this week. I'm going to take them plus 7.5.
It's a good pick.
Honestly, Tulane almost beat Kansas State. That was in Tulane, but I see kind of a Kansas State seems like a team that's going to keep this a little low scoring. I'm not sure, but Arizona's got an explosive offense. I think they can keep it to within a touchdown there, and that half point's honestly huge. So Arizona plus 7.5. I'm going to go with the over 54.5, or sorry, just 54 in Boston College and Mizzou. I think both those teams have pretty good offenses. I totally forgot until I watched the FSU Boston College game that Bill O'Brien is in Boston College now, and he has such a good offensive mind. So I really like that over. It's decently low for that matchup. Next up, I'm going to take Tulane plus 14. Talked about it a little before. They played a good game against Kansas State. They're going on the road to Oklahoma this week. It's a tough game, but if Houston, who is garbage, can keep it to 5 points with Oklahoma, I think Tulane keep it within 2 touchdowns. So next up, my too many points of the week. We are hopping back on the wagon. Flashback to 2 years ago, Oregon State. Go Beavs plus 16.5 at home against Oregon. This is I'm taking this play just exactly the same as FSU. I'm just going to be fading Oregon until it doesn't hit. 16.5 is a lot of points for a rivalry game. Oregon State is 2-0. They've come off of some decent wins. I mean, they had their FCS game, but they played San Diego State last week and shut them out. So I really like that line at home. That's a lot of points. Next up, I'm going to take West Virginia minus 2.5 at Pitt. That half point there is huge. 2.5 is a pretty low number. Pitt came down to the wire with Cincy, who I don't know who Cincy is this year, but I can't imagine they're that great. So I really like West Virginia here. 2 more plays. Texas A&M is going to the Swamp this weekend. And another team that I'm just fading, we're going to take Texas A&M minus 4.5.
Good pick.
The Gators suck. Texas A&M sucks too, but this is the battle of mid in the SEC, and we're just going to see 4.5.
I'm curious who the starter is going to be this week
for Florida.
Yeah,
I don't think it matters. It might matter. I don't really know.
Lagway can toss it, but it was Samford, so.
And then my last play. I don't really know much about this. I know I just like this because it's a pretty low line. We got Nebraska is hosting, is it Northern Iowa, I think is who that is this week? Northern Iowa. Their over is 47.5. I know Nebraska didn't put up too many points this past week against Colorado, but they've got a good quarterback in Raiola. And I think if Northern Iowa even scores a touchdown, this line covers. So we're going to take that over 47.5 in that game. And so those are my plays for the week.
Well, I didn't like much at all. So I have 5 plays. and a 4-leg perfect parlay. We'll start with the perfect parlay. Um, we talk of punishments, we talk of things. I don't think I'm going to hit a single parlay this year. I'm just going to be real with you. But I do feel very confident about this one. So there are a couple of duplicates within the perfect parlay. I'll cover those first. A&M -4.5 against Florida. Fade Florida till it dies. That's going to be one leg in the parlay. The other leg that I have in the parlay that I really like is that Memphis +6.5 against FSU. So those are two that I feel very confident on. These next two are a little bit different. They're kind of, shots, and let's see what happens. The first one I have Georgia and Kentucky over 45.5. That line seems a little low to me. I think Kentucky can at least score one, maybe two touchdowns. I know Georgia, we all know Georgia's probably going to run away with it, but they can score a lot of points. So that over 45.5, I think, is a good line for that. And then last but not least, the fourth leg in the perfect parlay, Boston College +17 against Missouri. Missouri is a good team, but Boston College has proven to also be a pretty decent squad. I think they could cover two touchdowns. And that +17, gives us two touchdowns and a field goal to work with. I thought that was a pretty good line, so I went with that. So 4 legs in the perfect parlay this week, +1280 for those using Hard Rock Bet. Texas A&M -4.5 against Florida, over 45.5, Georgia and Kentucky. Boston College +17 against Missouri, and then finally Memphis +6.5 against FSU, where Mike Norvell's head may be put on a Memphis steak. After that, I have 5 plays because I'm telling you, I didn't like anything that I saw. We're going to start with one that's really silly, but I also feel very confident in. We're going to take the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats again. They are playing Western Michigan, and Western Michigan is 0-2 this year. So is Bethune-Cookman, let's be real. But Bethune-Cookman is +32.5. I think that's way too many points for two very crappy teams. So we're going to stick with Bethune-Cookman +32.5. And that's probably going to be the worst statement I make this whole week. And it'll probably be Western Michigan 72, Bethune-Cookman nothing. But Bethune-Cookman +32.5 because I was feeling a little bit silly, much like our referees. I'm going to write it one more time, boys. One more time. That's the Iowa under. We're going to write it once more. This is it. This is their chance to prove to me that they can still. This is the last chance that they have to prove to me that they still can win games by not scoring points. So under 39 in that game against Troy was that Iowa under. We mentioned Ball State and Miami. I actually have the over in that game. Miami looks like a really good squad this year. I think it's another situation like Georgia and Kentucky where Miami's going to score a lot of points. They could probably potentially cover this by themselves. But again, Ball State could probably get one or two. Blind Squirrel finds a nut. Over 54.5. Again, just another dart at the dartboard. I have Miami of Ohio +3.5 against Cincinnati.
They won outright last year.
They did. So I'm taking Miami of Ohio +3.5 because Cincy, we hate Cincy, first of all, and Cincy's not that good. So those are the two reasons for that. And last but not least, one also that I really like is that Arizona-Kansas State game. I'm actually taking the over at 58.5. I think those are two teams that could score a lot of points. There may not be a lot of defense played in this game, but over 58.5, lock it in, Arizona, Kansas State. Those are my plays for the week.
This week is the week where the Big 12 starts to beat up on each other.
Love it.
Like a bunch of siblings fighting.
It's where everyone gets to their 3 conference losses. Everyone goes into conference championship week with 3 conference losses. There's one team that's an outright winner, and everyone just is in chaos until the end of the season. I'm taking a line adjustment. I just double checked as I was looking for something. Houston is down to -4 against Rice. So I'll be taking the half point for that 4. We're not going to get beat by a half point again this week.
Nice. I looked at my lines too, and a couple of my lines have moved in a bad direction, which is good for me.
I have also had that, but this was no one that's helped me out here.
I guess to get in early sometimes.
Yeah, it does. Speaking of lines, we've had line movement on our game since we started recording. We are now out to 2.5 point favorites within the last 10 minutes. It has flipped over under of 61. So huge swing considering we started off as 2-point dogs and we're now 2.5 point favorites. Conference play starts this week. this is when the real season starts. We'll find out, actually how good we are. I know we said that this past week, but this is the true test. We are on the road. We have struggled on the road in past seasons and past couple of seasons. So can really set the tone for the year. Bye week after next week. So nothing to look forward to. Everyone's focus is on this week against TCU. We've got 7:30 Eastern on Fox, 6:30 Central kick, 5:30 for our friends in Boise. Go Knights, charge on.
Charge on.
Charge on.